I found her curled up behind an old trash bin, shivering under the pale glow of a lonely street lamp. The night was quiet, the kind of quiet that makes every small sound echo, and yet she wasn't making a single noise. No crying, no meowing, just breathing so softly it almost looked like she was fading away. Her fur was soaked and tangled, clinging to her tiny shoulders. She looked half the size a cat should be, as if hunger had been slowly carving pieces out of her day after day. But her eyes were wide open, staring at me with this mixture of fear, hope, and exhaustion that no animal should ever have to feel. When I stepped closer, she didn't run. She didn't move at all. She simply watched me, like she had been waiting for something, or maybe waiting for nothing anymore. And when I knelt down, I noticed she was trembling so hard her whiskers shook. I whispered, "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." But even then she just blinked slowly, as though she barely had the strength to understand. When I reached out my hand, she hesitated for a heartbeat, and then she leaned forward, pressing her tiny forehead gently into my palm. That single motion broke me. It was fragile, desperate trust, the kind only creatures who have suffered too long can give. I wrapped her carefully in my coat. She weighed almost nothing. I could feel every bone under her damp fur, sharp and cold against the fabric. As I carried her home, she tucked her face against my chest, as if hiding from the wind. And before we reached the end of the street, she fell asleep. Not a peaceful sleep, a survival sleep, the kind you slip into only when your body finally senses it's safe. The vet told me she was severely underweight, dehydrated, and exhausted, but she had a strong heart, a fighting heart. Cats like her, he said, they either give up early or survive because they refuse to. For the next few days, she barely left the soft blanket I gave her. She ate slowly, cautiously, like she wasn't sure the food was really hers to keep. Sometimes she watched me from across the room with those wide, sad eyes that kept asking silently, "Are you really staying? Are you really real?" And little by little she began to change. The first time she purred, it was so faint I thought it was the sound of the heater. The next morning she followed me from room to room, always close but never touching. By the end of the week, she started sleeping on my sweater. By the end of the month, she climbed onto my lap and curled up there like she had always been meant to fit in that exact spot. Now she places her paw over my hand every night. It's her little ritual, as if she's silently reminding herself I'm still here, that she's not dreaming the warmth. Sometimes when she jerks awake from a nightmare, her eyes dart around the room like she's expecting to find herself back in that cold alley. And every time I gently stroke her back until she relaxes again. I don't think she'll ever fully forget what it felt like to be alone out there. Some wounds stay quiet but deep. But I also know this. She will never go back to that alley. Not ever. Because she's home now. Truly home. And however long she waited in that dark, lonely place, she'll never have to wait alone again.